Hey, it's Rick from For Community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. I'm an extrovert, and this lockdown thing that we're doing right now is really getting to me. So I've been trying to figure out new ways to connect with people and build new friendships and have new community. And so one of the things that I've been doing is I've been joining a lot of new Facebook groups, particularly Facebook groups about board gaming, because who knew? Apparently a lot of dads like to play board games. So I've been connecting with dads, and we've been getting into the occasional Zoom call just to talk about board gaming. That's what I've been doing in order to try to open up these closed boundaries and try to make new friends, because it's not easy right now, is it? I'm wondering about you, though. I can't say much about you at all. I don't know if you're introverted or extroverted, if you're socially gregarious or if you're very, very shy. I don't know. But here's what I do know about all of us. We all need people. Whether that's a lot of people or just a few people, whether we need to be connecting with people a lot or connecting with people just a little bit, we're all very different, but we all need people. So how are you doing these days? How are you doing at connecting with other people? How are you doing socializing with other people? So here we are today. I'm going to call this the fourth video in our series on boundaries. We've talked about how to strengthen the boundaries. We've talked about what to do about toxic friends. We've talked about what to do about toxic family members, but all that we've talked about so far has to do with closing our boundaries. We haven't talked about opening up our boundaries. We haven't talked about how to make ourselves accessible to people, how to make ourselves accessible to new friendships. If all we know how to do is shut down our boundaries and keep people out, we're going to be very, very sad people, and our mental health is going to go crazy, crazy low. How do we open up our boundaries safely? And how do we know if somebody is a safe person, a good person, and compatible with us so we can let them in and create new friendships? And that's where I want to go with today. And the text today is Mark chapter 4, verse 21 to 25. Not a very long text, but in this passage, right after Jesus talks about how to close the boundaries, what kinds of people to invest in that won't burn you out, he then comes to the scenario where, okay, but this is how you open the boundaries. This is how you become accessible to people, and this is how you actually make new friends, worthy friends, friends that are compatible with you, friends that will be a blessing back to you, a benefit of you. Okay, so Mark chapter 4, verses 21 to 25. Then Jesus asked them, "Would anyone light a lamp and then put it under a basket or under a bed? Well, of course not. A lamp is placed on a stand where its light will shine. For everything that is hidden will eventually be brought into the open, and every secret will be brought to light. Anyone who has ears should listen and understand." Then he added, "Pay close attention to what you hear. The closer you listen, the more understanding you will be given, and you will receive even more. To those who listen to my teaching, more understanding will be given. But for those who are not listening, even what little understanding they have will be taken away from them." Hey kids, 2 new things for you today. First of all, keep your eyes on the background, because hidden in the background are 2 new things. First of all, I've heard that some of you are watching a new movie, so you might see some characters from the new movie that you have just watched. Also, I've heard that some of you are playing some new video games, well, old video games that are new again. Keep your eyes in the background. You're going to see some screenshots, I think, of those video games. And the second new thing is we are journeying together through some kids' movies from Connect HQ. So I've sent a new link out to the parents. If you're a parent and you want the link to follow along the series that we're following along with for the kids, then please reach out and I'll send you that link. Here's what's jumping out to the text to me right now. And I understand that you have a different opinion, and your opinion is awesome. My opinion is awesome. Let's share our opinions together next time we get a chance to connect on Zoom, or just leave a note in the comments. That would be also awesome. Here's what I'm feeling this text is going with this week. How to safely open your boundaries. Okay, not just about closing them, not just about how to fix them when toxic people are inside of them, but how to safely open your boundaries to let healthy people in so that you can grow relationships with people who are going to benefit you as much as you benefit them. That's where I'd like to go with this text today. At this point in the story, Jesus has a lot of people crowding around him. Jesus has had to create safe boundaries around him so people wouldn't press into him and crush him. But now that those boundaries are in place, Jesus then transitions to the point where he says, This is how you can become my friend, and this is how I know that you're not going to be so taxing on me that I'm going to burn out because I've let you in too quickly, okay? So before we go there, first, let me just encourage you one more time to let you know that boundaries are good. Okay, everything that we said so far in the previous 3 videos, that's all good. Boundaries are good. We all need these rules in place that teach people this is how the interaction with me looks like when it's healthy, and this is how interacting with me looks like when it's not healthy. If we can meet in the middle, and if you can do things with me that are healthy for me, we're in relationship. But however, if you're not able to obey these rules, for example, stop swearing at me, you're not allowed to punch me and hit me, you're not allowed to treat me like garbage, those are pretty good boundaries, those are pretty good rules to have. If you can't meet these rules, then we're no longer in relationship. So boundaries are healthy. We all have limits. Boundaries are just telling people this is where my limit is. Anything more than that, I'm going to get hurt. Remember that Jesus maintains safe boundaries. If you need to maintain safe boundaries, you know what? Jesus had to as well. It's very, very normal. So that the crowd wouldn't overwhelm him, he created a safe boundary. So that he wouldn't get burnt out, because remember, he's both God and human, right? So he wouldn't get burnt out as a human, he created a safe boundary. That's last week's video. The boundaries are good. The boundaries that you put in place, they're probably good. However, boundaries need to be 2 things, okay? Not just one thing. Boundaries need to be significant enough to protect who you are, to protect identity. But they also have to be permeable. If a boundary is so significant that nothing gets in, then you're looking at a pretty unhealthy system. You're looking at an entropic system. But when a boundary is permeable enough to let new stuff in, now we're talking about a boundary that's very healthy, that's going to keep you healthy as well. This week I called my doctor up and I said, "Doctor, I need some advice. I'm a little nervous about knowing whether or not to send my kids back to school or keep them home and do the online school thing." I said, "Listen, right now it doesn't feel like either option is a good option. What do you recommend?" And my doctor said, "Listen, as long as the numbers stay as they are in Ontario, the benefit outweighs the risk. Send your kids to school, because the longer we keep our kids at home, the lower their mental health is dropping. We need to get our kids back into school, back in an environment where they have community with other kids in order to help their mental health issues." So what COVID has done is it's strengthened up our boundaries so much that we're beginning to decline in our mental health because our boundaries are too significant. Our boundaries need to be made more permeable to let new information, new relationships in. Basically, we're starving for human contact. We're starving from not connecting enough with other people. When your boundary is too strong, you are preventing other good people, other people who truly care about you and want to benefit you, want to help you. When your boundaries are so strong, you're preventing those really worthy people of getting access to you, and you're preventing yourself from benefiting from all those people around you who really care about you. When your boundaries are so strong, you lock people out needlessly, and you're the one who is weaker for it, not the people that you're locking out. You become really weak for it when your boundaries are too strong. We can let our boundaries be permeable enough, weak enough, to have new people come in and develop new relationships, and we really, really need to. Remember, when Jesus communicated, he was communicating the passage between being an insider and an outsider. And in the last passage, we really learned that there are insiders and outsiders. Insiders, those inside our social circles, are people that we really want to invest ourselves in. Those outside of our immediate social circles, we don't want to too heavily invest in them because they're going to be a drain on us because they really don't give our energy back to us. Jesus is saying, in all this time, he's saying, okay, but I want more people on the inside. The people on the inside, I want it to be people who, when I spend energy on them, they'll also spend energy on me. But we never get those insiders until we open up the boundaries. So as Jesus is communicating to the crowds, he's communicating to the crowds, this is how you get access to me. This is how you can come into my inner circle of friends so that you and I can be investing in each other and have a mutually beneficial friendship. And that's really the gospel message, right? Jesus lets us know that anyone who wants to be a friend of God, anyone who wants to be his friend, start by receiving him. Place your faith in Jesus. That's where it starts. Just believe that he exists. Just believe that he's God. It's big, I know. And then become his follower, right? So that's the entrance way into becoming a friends with God. It starts by receiving. It starts by faith in him. So he's communicating, this is how you become my friend. You become my friend by receiving me. That's what Jesus did. But the point that I'm making is he was able to share with people, this is how you come into my inner circle of social friends. Okay, so how do you do this now? How do you know when it's safe for you to open up your boundary and let somebody new into your social circle? Somebody who's not going to be toxic, somebody who's not going to be draining, and somebody who's not going to hurt you, that'll have this reciprocal benefit going on. How do you know when it's okay to open up your boundary to receive a new friend? There were 2 signs that Jesus looked for, and I think that these 2 signs are good for you too. First, he looked for people who understood the small amount of truth that were given to them and began to try to understand that. Remember that Jesus only spoke in parables to those he considered outsiders, those he considered on the outside of his inner social circle. He only spoke to them in parables in order to not burn himself out and in order to not draw people too quickly into friendship. So he's looking for people who attempt to understand the small amount of truth that he has given to them. For those in the crowd then who worked hard at understanding what he was telling them, Jesus took that as a sign that they were beginning to be safe enough to bring into his inner circle of friends. Second, he looked for people who were also gaining a clue about him and beginning to care about him. So not only were they gaining an understanding about who he was and the truth that he was revealing, they were also beginning to care about who he was, not just about the information he had to share, not just about themselves and how Jesus could benefit them, but they were also taking a genuine interest and care in who Jesus actually was. So they're trying to figure out who he is in the amount of information he's giving, and they're caring about Jesus the more they get to know him. These 2 tests for receptivity, are they trying to understand and are they beginning to care? These 2 tests of receptivity are what Jesus employs all the time through the Gospel of Mark. And when he sees that, that gives him a clue that these people need to be brought into the inner circle. I need to consider them insiders inside my social circle. So what about you? Can you use this test for receptivity to try to figure out if it's safe for you to include somebody in your social circle? I think you can. Here's what the test would look like for you as you try to figure out if somebody is worthy, is beneficial for being your friend. First, look for people who are able to understand the small amount of truth that they know about you. Because we all through our days, we go about our days and we communicate some small part of who we are. I mean, even when we're driving by somebody in the car, when we're standing in line at a Walmart, we can't not communicate. So we're always communicating something. And those people around us who are starting to understand what it is we're communicating about ourselves, and they're starting to get a clue, that's a good indication that, wait a minute, this person is trying to understand who I am. So I need to pay attention to this person because they might be good to bring into my friendship circle. There are people who don't criticize you and judge you. You know how sometimes you give information about yourself and the very first thing that people do is they criticize you? Like Facebook's a pretty good platform for that, right? You share something new on Facebook and that's like a zoo, man. You share something new and you get opinions all over the board. Some people will say, "Grats, way to go." Other people say, "That's still so stupid. Why'd you do that?" Opinions all over the place, right? You're looking for people who share an understanding, they're trying to understand you, not people that are judging and trying to criticize you. The people who will give you the benefit of the doubt. You know, you and I, we do dumb things all the time, right? And we say things that we don't intend to say. We meant something else, but it came across as something totally weird. People give you the benefit of the doubt sometimes because they're trying to understand you. That's a pretty good sign that you want to let them past your boundary. These are people who laugh with you at your mistakes, not at you at your mistakes. And they're laughing with you at your mistakes is because they made mistakes too. And they'll say something, "Oh, I totally did that too. I understand what that feels like." Oh, and they're laughing together. And it's an empathy kind of laugh, not a critical kind of laugh. They seek understanding rather than grilling you for more information so that they can build their case against you, right? So These are people who are trying to understand the real you, giving you the benefit of the doubt, and laughing alongside you, walking alongside you, just growing in their appreciation, understanding of you. That's the first test. Are the people that you're bumping into, that are around you, that will they make good friends or not? Well, if they're showing signs that they're really trying to understand you and giving you the benefit of the doubt, they're probably okay for you to let pass your boundary and allow them to be a friend. Second, look for people who are starting to get a clue about you. I mean, more than just understanding your likes and dislikes and your pattern and whatever and how you stand in a line at Walmart, but actually people that are beginning to genuinely care about you. Okay, that's the second test. Does this person actually care about me, or do they just care about the benefit that they get if we're in friendship with one another? I mean, their head knowledge about you begins to affect their heart, and then they begin to do things that would make you feel good about yourself. They begin to do things that you'd say, oh, this person genuinely cares about me. They treat you with empathy, and they know how to make you feel like you're a better person because they're caring for you, and they want you to feel good about yourself. They care about you. That's Jesus' 2 tests for receptivity, and he did it all the time. In order for anybody in the crowd to pass from the crowd into his inner circle, there was these 2 tests that he made. How is this person handling the small amount of truth that I've given them? Are they digging in for deep understanding? And do they genuinely care about who I am? And generally, those people who will pass those 2 tests of receptivity, those are generally the people who will say, I'm ready to receive you. I'm ready to receive you as my personal friend, and you can receive me as your personal friend. And then they are brought into Jesus' inner circle. I just want to make one more point here. No one's perfect. You're looking for signs. You're not looking for perfection. No one can perfectly understand you, and no one can perfectly care about you. Frankly, you don't perfectly understand you, and you don't perfectly care about you either, right? So sometimes we have to lower our expectations just a little bit. Remember that while you're testing for receptivity, while you're testing to find out if someone would make a great friend for you, remember to get off your high horse, okay? And treat them with the same understanding and care that they're beginning to treat you with as well. It's always a risk when we're trying to open ourselves up and make new friends, but it's also a risk to them as well as they're trying to draw closer into friendship as well. Wow, it's like the ABCs, the basics, and why have I gone so basic with this? I mean, we all kind of get this in junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten. Why? I really want to encourage you today to go out of your way to make a new friend. With the declining mental health that we see all around us, with all these social bubbles that we have and the social distancing, some of us are getting a clue, some of us are re-engaging, but others of us are not. We're having a little bit of trouble. We still see on the highways as people are going back and forth to work. We still see that the highways are not as busy as it used to be. We still see in my location where I'm at, Walmart on its busiest day is still about 25% full as when it used to be so much fuller, right? We're still seeing people social distance a lot, and our mental health is declining. So can I please encourage you, please go out of your way to make a friend. Use this 2-part test for receptivity to find out if someone is generally trying to understand the little information that you've revealed about yourself, and if they're gaining this sense of care for you. Those are the kind of people that you want to reach out to and pull into your social circles, because they're probably going to offer you a mutually beneficial relationship, and that's totally going to help you, and it's going to help strengthen your mental wellness. All right, let me wrap it up with a final takeaway. Let your guard down and make some new friends. That's it. Let your guard down. Make some new friends. Because it's really healthy. There's some really great people out there that you're not yet friends with, that are not yet inside your social circle, but they'd be great friends with you. Look for the people who are trying to understand you and the people who genuinely care about you, and let them in. Go make a new friend this week. That's it from me for now. See you next time. If you don't yet have a community that you're connecting with on a regular basis, would you please consider connecting with For Community? We meet online a couple times a week, Sunday certainly all the time. Wednesday night, sometimes we connect as well. Other times during the week, just casually pick up Zoom and just sort of connect. That's it. So from me to you for now. See you next time.